Hello everyone and welcome to our final reflection on Psalm 8 coming from the Manse. Let me read the appropriate verses. I'll begin by recapping on the verses we looked at yesterday. The psalmist says this: "When I look at the heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars set in place by you, what are humans that you should remember them, mortals that you should care for them? Yet you have made them a little less than the heavenly beings, crowned them with glory and honour. You've made them rulers over all your creatures and put everything under their feet, all flocks and herds and beasts of the field, the birds of the air and the fish of the sea, all that swim in the ocean. O Yahweh our Lord, how glorious is your name in all the earth." Isn't it amazing how one little word can be like a rudder that changes direction? Because the psalmist had asked, what are humans that you should remember them, mortals that you should care for them? Yet, or but, you have made them a little less than the heavenly beings. Hebrew word there can refer to gods with a small g, or even angels. So heavenly beings covers both. In other words, human beings are not God, but at the same time we're just lower than other heavenly beings that may exist. So that gives us high status indeed. But then there's criticism levelled at this view of man. It's the Judeo-Christian tradition to see human beings as made in the image of God and having dominion on the earth. And the words we've just read, support that. The criticism would be, does this not justify exploitation? Is this not human arrogance? Does it not lead to a domination of the earth that is destructive? Well, not according to the biblical context, because Psalm 8 has to be read in conjunction with Genesis 1, because the language in both that first opening creation story in the Bible and Psalm 8 are very similar. And alongside Genesis 2 and 3, where we have the garden story. So the image here is of stewardship. In fact, in Psalm 8, it's looking at rule from the eyes of a shepherd. Note that it says, all flocks and herds and beasts of the field. It's the same in Genesis 1 than some of the language that's used. Here we have the idea of the human being like a shepherd with responsibility for the flock. And then in Genesis 2 and 3 there's the illustration of the garden and human beings nurturing the garden. So what we have here is not exploitation and domination, it's stewardship and nurture. Now I understand I'm not a gardener by any stretch of the imagination, never really been interested in it. But I understand that it's very hard to get materials for gardening because the shops are all sold out because so many people on lockdown have turned to their gardens. And that's wonderful because I'm sure so many of you are getting a lot out of that. But we're also reminded during this lockdown from all the reports we're hearing all over the world that the garden of the earth has started to flourish again. Because human activity has ceased. Our exploitation of the earth has waned. Let me read you a poem that I came across on the internet. I've already shared it with many friends. And it's by the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Her name is Jacinda Ardern. And I think she has a Maori background because some of it is in Maori. I will miss these bits out. And basically it's a poem she wrote on the train, very, very quickly, and it's addressed to Mother Earth. Listen to this, because it's talking about the pandemic. Rest now, O Mother Earth, breathe easy and settle, right here where you are. We'll not move upon you for a while. We'll stop. We'll cease, we'll slow down and stay home. Draw each other close and be kind. kinder than we've ever been. I wish we could say we were doing it for you as much as ourselves. But we're doing it anyway. It's right. It's time. Time to return. Time to remember. Time to listen and forgive. Time to withhold judgment. Time to cry. Time to think about others. Remove our shoes, press our hands to soil, sift grains between fingers. Gentle palms. Time to plant, time to wait, time to notice to whom we belong. For now, it's just you, and the wind, and the forests, and the oceans, and the sky full of rain. Finally, it's raining. Embrace it. This sacrifice of solitude we have carved out for you. It's a small offering. People always said it wasn't possible to ground flights and stay at home and stop our habits of consumption. But it was. It always was. We were just afraid of how much it was going to hurt. And it is hurting. And it will hurt. And continue to hurt. But not as much as you have been hurt. So be still now. Wrap your hills around our absence. Loosen the concrete belt clinched tight at your waist. Rest, breathe, recover, heal. And we will do the same. Wow, how do you follow that? But you know, some people who are against the Judeo-Christian religion often think that native religions are better, like the Maori traditions. But I read that and I see that in line with Psalm 8 and with the biblical tradition. Hopefully we have learned something out of this pandemic. Well, undoubtedly we have. Things cannot go back to how they were, can they? Well, that's up to you and me. May the God who brought everything into being be with us today and all the days in the future. May he make us more gentle. Thank you for listening. God be with you all.